Okay, guys and girls, I had to take a moment from my day to answer a very commonly asked question, which is this: Darren, is it improper or unprofessional or unethical even to hook up to the water and electrical outlet at your customer's house? I must say I'm very surprised how frequently I am asked that single question. So I thought it was worthy of a video. But before I get too far, there's a couple of things I need to address. What? The shirt? Oh, where's Auto Fetish shirt? What do I have on here? That's right, baby. American Detailers. I don't know if you can see the logo or not. American Detailers. So Billy Bogus and Russ Welch, thumbs up. Shirt is sweet, fits perfectly, large, thank you very much. So wait for it, wait for it. We have the back. So here we have American Detailers, and then American Detailers on steroids. And before I get too much further into the video, I have yet another wardrobe change. And here we are with sample number 2. So Steve Vandervorst from Belgium, Clean Freaks, thumbs up. Thank you for the shirt. So check out the front. Now, I am not quite the stature of a man that Steve is. I believe he's 6'4" or 5. So this is a triple X. Obviously, I have room to grow. Let's check out the rear. Yes, a little anticlimactic because, like I said, I take it large, but the shirt actually fits rather well. Great design. It's oh so soft on the skin too, Steve, so thumbs up. Also, apparently, a lot of you guys have some like sick ass girlfriends and wives. And by sick ass, that's a compliment. Sick meaning good as in thumbs up. Because check this out. Yet again, another request. Now, I do not have time to fulfill all the requests, but I do it as often as I can. Matthew Zadorsik. Solid detailing of Tampa, Florida. So Matthew, you can thank your girlfriend Marissa because she is one dope ass girlfriend. Apparently she missed your birthday by a few days, so she thought, hey, why not the anniversary moment? So happy anniversary to you today. And I will upload this in a timely manner so that it will be there on the day of your anniversary. So with that out of the way, not to diminish it, but back to the point on hand, which is, Darren, how do you go about handling what I guess many of you consider an awkward moment? Well, if I pull myself and put myself in the Wayback Machine when I first started, you know what? I completely empathize with you. My answer to this is, and you may have noticed this in other areas of life, which is that if you go about business as though that's the way it just is, you literally can get away with just about anything. Just act like it's business as normal. So to apply it to this context of you and your detailing world, I just act like this is just how it's done. But that's an oversimplification. So let me break it down to you because there's some specific points I would like to make. Not only how I go about this in dealing with the customer itself, but also my choice in hoses and electrical cords. Most of you know, if you've been watching my YouTube channel for any length of time, that I do not operate as the traditional mobile washer and detailer. I am mobile detailing only. Does that mean I do not ever have to wash a car? No, it doesn't. Occasionally, I do have to wash a car. But that is a secret as to how I actually strategize that. You can find that secret at my website, autofetishdetail.com, if you look closely enough. But In the future, when I do courses that I plan on building and creating to help guys like you that are getting into the business, that I will be selling for as little as possible to make it as affordable as possible, that will be one of my secrets that I reveal to you as to exactly how I go about that. So it all starts with, well, you could either say on the phone call or my website. On my website, I tell people that I am not the, okay, bug alert, I am not the traditional mobile washer that you're going to see set up in a parking lot that's all self-contained. I've got my big oversized water tank and pressure washer, so on and so forth. That's not me because I don't do mobile washing. I do mobile professional detailing. Big difference. It doesn't mean you can't do both, and I'm not trying to demean or diminish those that do mobile washing. I'm just saying is that I have paid my dues. I'm done paying my dues in that manner, and therefore I do professional detailing only. In staying with the spirit of my philosophy in the way I operate in life and business is keep it simple. How do I do what I love to do and keep it as simple and trouble-free as possible while producing as much profits as possible? That is my goal if you wanted to reduce it down to the simplistic. In spirit of that goal, I do not carry around a big water tank and pressure washer. As far as feeling awkward and unprofessional and rolling up and wanting to tap into their water and electrical supply, do not worry about it. If you just act like this is normal, you can get away with anything, this included. So let's just pretend that it's starting on the phone. Let's pretend that they found my website and they got the number off of the website and they call me. They have done no research, because if they had done research on my website and what I call performing due diligence, they will know all the steps, or what I call the protocols of doing business with Darren. One of them is that I don't do mobile washing. One of them is that I accept cash only. Yes, you actually can train your customers so that it's not only is it a win-win for both sides, but you can actually train them so it becomes an even greater win for you as a detailer, which means that you walk away with greater profitability, not less profitability. That's always the goal. A win-win for both sides and to be as profitable as possible. So to keep it simple, I know that 99% of the time I'm showing up to someone's home to detail their car. At virtually every home, there's going to be a water source and electrical source. So why not use it? You don't have to feel awkward. So trust me on this, you don't have to feel awkward. You just go with the flow. Just act like it's business as usual. And this is just the way it's done. I literally have never been questioned. In fact, I will have people, before I've even discussed it on the phone, that when I roll up and I introduce myself, because most of the time we're meeting for the first time, aside from our moment on the phone. Hey Darren, just to let you know, I've got water source over there, I've got electrical. They'll even offer me their hose and the extension cords, which I inform them that I come prepared and I will hook up to the hose or to the water bib and the electrical outlet. Straightforward, no questions asked, I'm not awkward about it. But let's pretend for a moment that they do question me. And it's like, well, that's just me keeping it simple. That's really the only answer you have to give. It's like, you know what? That's just me keeping it simple. I don't do mobile washing. I do professional detailing. That's what I'm here to do. So therefore, I don't need to carry around a bunch of water and a big fat noisy generator. So you can actually spin it, if you want to call it spinning it, but really it's just you being truthful, or me in my situation being truthful, which is I keep it simple. I'm not a glorified detailer that's really just a glorified car washer. I'm truly a professional detailer. Since I don't do mobile washing, I don't need to complicate my world and carry around a bunch of water. The cost of water and electricity, for most people, it really is a trivial amount. It is so completely off the radar, they really will not care. But because you're presenting yourself, and this goes back to one of my many adages, which is presentation is king. If you present yourself as a professional in everything you do, like I've said in other videos, every moment that you are talking to your customer or in view of your customer, you have the ability to either enhance or diminish your professionalism, your expertise, your credibility, your trust. So every single thing you do, which is why this is really a very valid question, because when you're first starting out, as a rule, I know I was incredibly self-conscious, incredibly insecure, incredibly naive. I mean, I had no direction, no mentors, no help of any kind. I was literally thrown in the deep end by my own doing, granted, and I just had to sink or swim. So trust me when I say I get it. You lack the confidence. So I'm producing this video to help put some confidence in you. Now you have permission. I'm literally, as a professional, a guy with 25 plus years of experience, giving you permission to have that confidence to roll into your customer's home and say, hey, I'm ready to go. Here's your car. Let's back it into the driveway. Would you like me to do it, or would you like to do it? After you take the tour, you have that initial discussion with them. Where can I hook up to your water source? I see the water bib over there. Where would you like me to hook up my extension cord in your garage or out your front door, side door, back door, whatever? Now, with that said, if time really is money, and this is the part where I'm now going to kind of segue into another topic, but still remain on topic, and that comes to your choice in productivity and efficiency. Because efficiency really will produce more profits for you in the end. How does Darren choose to be efficient? And yes, I'm now suddenly talking about myself in the third person. So let me show you how Darren does it. First, the extension cord. And I've seen a lot of you guys in your setups, and thumbs up, by the way. And this is not to belittle any of you, but what I prefer is what's called the cord reel. I do not have this on my website. It is a work in progress, but these are very handy. My cord will never get wadded up, knotted up, tied up. This keeps it neat and tight and organized. It's easy to unroll, easy to roll back up. I love these cord reels. I carry two with me. One is a heavier gauge, and this is probably, let's say, a 12 gauge extension cord. It's 50 feet long. So when I'm hooking up my air compressor or my VX5000 steamer that draws more amperage, that's why I want a bigger or a thicker extension cord. You have to think of electricity like water. The bigger the hose or the wiring itself, the easier electricity can flow through it, and the more electricity can flow through it. Therefore, if you have a device, a buffer, a vacuum cleaner, a steamer, go down the list, that draws a lot of amps, then a thicker cord is advisable and often required. Because if you use a cord that's too thin, that really can't handle the amount of amperage that is required, your connectors will heat up and actually start to melt. How do I know this? First-hand experience. I had to learn the hard way. Now guess what? You don't have to learn the hard way. So this is, I believe, approximately a 12 gauge extension cord. Now I have a lighter duty extension cord, once again wrapped up on a cord wheel, which I get at Home Depot, or you can use one of my links on my website and order one through Amazon, and I get a little bit of a commission. So thank you in advance if you choose to go that route. But my other cord is a 100-foot cord. So all in all, I carry 150 feet of extension cord because every house is different. You never know when you're going to need that extra length. Because sometimes length does matter. Sometimes size does matter. So I come prepared. But my 100-foot cord is what I mostly use. I need that kind of length as a rule to go from the inside of someone's garage out to where I'm working and have enough length where I can get around the car, use my vacuum, use my buffer, so on and so forth. And I believe that is a 14 gauge, which is called light to medium duty use. That's one way that Darren is efficient. Let's discuss our choices in hoses, because I find a theme. And it's not only a theme in life, which is more is always better. Well, guess what? More sometimes is just that, more. So more is not always better. How does this have to relate to hoses? Well, you go shopping at Home Depot or Lowe's or one of those name brand retailers, Walmart, Target, whatever, and you're looking for a garden hose. And it says industrial strength. Okay, that's the more part. Well, industrial is obviously better than like residential or typical or normal or traditional, because industrial strength or commercial strength, surely it must be better, right? Here we have my Craftsman 100-foot garden hose. What is unique about this is that it's made out of a quality rubber. So regardless of how cold it gets, now granted, as a sidebar, I live in California, so the coldest that it ever gets here, like 36 degrees at night, and that's damn cold for us Californians. So I know that when things get cold, they tend to get stiff and brittle and hard to work with. So you get those industrial or those commercial grade hoses that are typically like this, kind of creepy fleshy color. Those things are, they're like wrestling a boa constrictor. They're just miserable to deal with. This rubber, because it's a high grade rubber, it is resistant to kinking. Yes, I can force a kink into it, but unlike those other hoses where you kink them once and they're forever like permanently kinked, these, because the rubber is truly a quality rubber, it stays in the shape in which it's meant to stay. Notice the ends, solid metal. It's not like a crimped, stamped, cheap-ass brass fitting. This is a quality, solid fitting. So if you were to drive over this with a car, for example, and yes, that has happened, and yes, I had to learn the hard way. Now you don't have to learn the hard way. Once again, you do get what you pay for. These hoses are not the cheapest hoses on the block. You will pay more for these hoses, but there's a reason for it, and this is one of many reasons. Not only the high-grade rubber, which is very friendly in both hot and cold weather conditions, but if you drive over these ends, it does not crimp it, it does not taco it up where it becomes unusable. Both ends are like that. So you can run over them, because sometimes your customer will run over your stuff because they're just that unaware. So this is why I love these hoses. This one is a Craftsman. On my website you can find it. If you want to order one through Amazon, once again using my links, thumbs up. I thank you in advance. Now, in maintaining the spirit of efficiency and time is money, I also carry another hose, and this is, I don't know what they call these, but it's permanently coiled, so it stays like this, but it stretches out. Now I know what many of you are thinking, that they have these even cooler ones that like decompress to almost nothing, and then when you fill them with water, they literally stretch out and expand to like 5 times its length. Well, guess what? I tried that route, and it's a great idea in theory. Unfortunately, every one of them that I have found are made rather cheaply, rather poorly. And once again, I had to learn the hard way. So I purchased one of those hoses, and I was using it, and I was finishing up my detail, and I had about 10 minutes left of the detail, And what happens? Yes, the connector, the cheap ass plastic connector, separated from the hose, and now suddenly I have this water weenie shooting water all over the place at like 90 psi straight from the tap or straight from the hose bib. I've got water just shooting all over the place, going crazy like this. And so there I am running, looking like a complete idiot and moron, because now the car that I just spent hours detailing is getting saturated and soaked with water. Never again. This thing is like 2 to 3 times more expensive than those things. Yes, it does not shrink down, and you guys all know what shrinkage is. Not a good thing in our world, but in this case, that shrinkage was a good thing. This does not shrink down into a nice tight little package like those other ones are. But nonetheless, it is very compact. And occasionally, all I need is 25 feet of hose. So this officially stretches out to 50 feet. But when you stretch it out, it wants to automatically decompress back to its original shape. So that can be problematic in and of itself. So if I know I only need 25 feet of length, I'm going to reach for this because I can whip this in and out in under like 10 seconds, have it hooked up with my nozzle, bam, good to go. Once again, time is money. So let me wrap this up for you by adding yet one parting point. And that is that when I'm talking to my customer on the phone initially, before the appointment, really the only thing I ask, because people ask me specifically, Darren, do you ask your customer if it's okay? I don't really give them much warning. Meaning I go through a certain checklist when someone calls me on the phone. How did they find me? Did they read my website? And then based on their answer, will send me in a specific direction. So if they've spent time on my website, then I know that they have done their due diligence. And really the biggest factor for me is 3 areas: place of business, an apartment complex or condominium complex, or a home, a freestanding home. Because those will determine the questions that I ask or the response that I give. For example, I know at every home there will be a external hose bib somewhere. Now here in California, they often hide them, for lack of a better word, in the garage. So I know that the hose bib will be only accessible with the garage door open. So far that's never been a problem. Traditionally, the hose bib will be located somewhere on the outside of the house. And usually they will have at least one in the front, one in the back, and sometimes on the side of the house. So I know that there's access. What I do is carry a pair of channel locks, which is a type of wrench or pliers. It's kind of a combination of both. Because some hose bibs of the houses that I go to have never been used or are rarely used. So I can't undo their stupid hose that has been attached for like decades, and I will need to undo it with a pair of channel locks. So I do carry some tools with me, and that's just a little side note. Now apartments represent a unique challenge because apartment complexes, well, you probably already know where this is headed. They may live upstairs, downstairs, in the middle of the complex. It could be a big fat complex with like 1,000 units or 10 units. You just don't know. So when it comes to apartments, I will ask them specifically. It's like, okay, I gotta let you know, I'm not your traditional mobile detailer that carries a big water tank and pressure washer with them. So is there any access that you know of around your complex that has access to water? Because some apartment complexes actually have a separate dedicated wash bay. Some apartment complexes will not even let you ride onto the premises to detail a car. So that's a whole nother separate list of questions that you need to ask and verify. So that's another issue. A business, a place of business. Rarely do I work at businesses anymore. I prefer to work at home for a couple reasons. One, it's how I fly under the radar, because I know with code enforcement, because I do not operate completely up to code. Why not? Well, one of the main reasons is because city codes and state codes vary from city to city, and city codes do not always match state codes. So you can actually have state laws or codes or ordinances that actually contradict city codes and ordinances. It's like trying to hit a moving target. So one way to fly off the radar or under the radar is to work amongst the residential community, because you do not have code enforcement as a rule driving through residential communities. And the laws of residences are different than laws of business communities. That's where zoning comes in. It's either zoned for resident or it's zoned for business or commercial. So there's a difference. So rarely am I working in business parks, but it does happen. And if that is the situation, I will ask and verify, okay, am I showing up to your home, an apartment, or a business? So based on their answer, once again, we'll determine how I respond. So if it's a business, that's where I ask and once again inform them. And I just go about as though this is business as usual and state that I'm a professional detailer, not a professional washer, and I do not carry a bunch of water with me. Is there access to water or electricity at your place of business? Most of the time, people, because they want what they want, will go out of their way to accommodate you because they want their car detailed. Bottom line, that's why they're calling you. So they will actually jump through hoops to make sure, once they've decided that you're the service or you're the man for them, they will jump through hoops. And I mean, I've literally had people say, you know what, Darren, I can't open the back door for you, but shoot, we could just run an extension cord out the front door. I don't care. And I've literally done that. I mean, I have run extension cord through office space. Often you'll see these commercial doors that have the glass swinging door and they'll have a little flap like this for the mail slot. I've ran it through there. Now, I always apply caution, and this goes into risk management, where I don't want people tripping over my cord. So I'll run it under, like, let's say floor mats. I'll make sure it's positioned out of the way so people aren't tripping on it. If I need to run some tape over the extension cord, I'll even take that precaution. So once again, it's all about responding to the bigger picture, to the many variables that are at place in the specific situation from moment to moment. Because literally each car, each customer, each geographic situation literally is a case by case. So you've got to remain flexible, be like a chameleon, change your colors as needed according to the situation as it dictates. Allow the moment to dictate. You simply respond to the information that's being fed to you. It's hard to believe it took this long just to talk about this subject, isn't it? Hoses, electrical cords, cord reels. I mean, seriously, right? But I swear, take any topic and the ripple effect is overwhelming. So now that I've done my part in trying to help you, which I hope you have learned something today, it is your turn. It's called paying it forward or paying it back. So please, let me just say thank you in advance. I appreciate all of your support. I am truly amazed and touched by the background communication that I receive and people telling me how much I've helped, so on and so forth. So I am truly grateful for that. At this point, with that said, is hover over with your mouse and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it or learned something at any level. Even better yet is make a comment. It could be something as simple as, thanks, Darren. Good job, Darren. Learn something, whatever. You don't have to get wordy about it. All I'm trying to do is create some buzz. Basically, what I'm trying to do is let the search engines know that this video is actually relevant, that people like it. It tells the search engines, or YouTube specifically, that, hey, this is coming on our radar. We need to give this more airtime. The more airtime I get, the more people I can help. Get how that works? Also, if you want to even take it one step further, is actually post this video on your favorite Facebook group, car forum, detailing forum, whatever. Trust me when I say sincerely thank you. Till next time.